Liftoff will start in T-minus 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have ignition.
It's time! Seconds from game 7 or from championship number 6. Jordan, open, Chicago with the lead! Behind the screen, Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls have won their 6th NBA championship. Tying run at second, 2 out, Palmero over the head of Jenks. Uribe charges, throws, out! And the White Sox have won the World Series.
To the far side around the 8-yard line to Hester. Under it, and to the middle of the 15, to the 20, breaks free of the 25, to the 30, to the outside, 40, midfield, 40, 30 to the coast, 20, 15, Hester 5. Oh!
For the 3rd time in 6 seasons, it's one goal team. The Chicago Blackhawks win the Stanley Cup. A little bouncer slowly toward Bryant. He will glove it through to Rizzo. It's in time. And the Chicago Cubs win the World Series.
What up, what up, what up? Welcome to ShawnSierraSports on Sports Zone Chicago. I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Thanks for tuning in. If you're watching us on Facebook Live, well, then I guess you found us on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, what? Come on, go to Facebook, type in Sports Zone Chicago, click the like button. Now you're following Sports Zone Chicago. Simple. Wait, there's more. Go to YouTube. And if you're watching us on our YouTube channel, excellent. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, for real, come on, guys. Go to YouTube in Sports Zone Chicago, click the subscribe button, but also click the notification button. That's the little bell next to it, and that'll let you know anytime a show from Sports Zone Chicago is going live. Get it? Got it? Good. Now, you can also tweet the show. Tweet us at Sports Zone Shy. That's CHI at Sports Zone Shy. Now, if you want to follow me, just me personally online. You want to know what I did? Let me tell you what I did. I made it nice and easy for you folks. Nice and easy. One handle for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. All one handle at the Shawn Sierra. Listen, I got a great show, but I need you to get interactive. So whatever platform you're watching us on, whether it's Facebook or YouTube channel, leave a question or comment on that platform. It'll come up here in the thread. We'll put it up on the screen. We'll incorporate it into the show, and that, my peoples, is what makes the Chicago Sports Talk Show around, and that's you. So bring them all, baby. Questions, comments, smart-ass remarks, because they know over here. Like The Rock said, baby, don't sing it. Just bring it. Let's check out the chat. It's jumping already. Cornelia Squall's in there. What up, what up, what up? Shawn Sierra Sports fans. Fly the W. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Get your nonsense. Levette Lee, she contributes to this debauchery. She goes, happy hump day, y'all. Go, Cubs, go. I know where they can go. I got a perfect place for them to go. My man Armando Emeterio. Lara Jr. is in the house. What's up, Junior? Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I'm like 3rd on the list. He's like, Shawn. Yeah, I'm like 3rd on the list. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you. Good looking out. Mr. Southside himself. What up on a hump day? He says, man, Levette says, sup, Shawn. Sup, Levette. Sup. Black Diamond contributing to this debauchery since top of the morning. Go Cubs, go. Trust me, I know I got a place where they can go. That was a huge win. Huge win for yesterday. Rick Gonzalez in the house. Like, what up, Rick? Shawn, you remember in the movie Major League when Ricky Vaughn would enter? It's a wild thing. And the owner said, I hate that fucking song. That's how I feel when I hear Go Cubs Go, Go Cubs Go, FGB. I concur. Yes. Every time the little banjo play is started, like, oh, Jesus, here we go. These mother hubbards. Please don't play that Go Cubs Go song. Trust me, I'm not. I'm not. I am not. That's for sure. Listen, I don't know a lot about a lot, but I do know this. More of the usual suspects will chime in as the show goes on. That, my peoples, I can promise you. No, Black Diamond, no. Listen, I got a great show for you, but you are active, which is awesome. But 9:30 at the bottom of the hour, my man Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com is going to join us. We're going to talk about the Cubs' Game 1 victory yesterday at Wrigley. Can they duplicate that feat today? All right, they're going with an opener to ease the brunt for Shota Imanaga, apparently. I don't know. But we're going to talk to Evan Altman at the bottom of the hour, get his thoughts. And he's actually coming up from Indianapolis because he lives in Indy. He's coming up for the Cubs game today. So as soon as he gets off with me, he's going to hop in the car, come up I-65. Going to pass through the south side on his way up north to that place up there. Yeah. But Evan's a guy. If you're a Cub fan, Evan's dedication to CubsInsider.com has been off the charts since I met him. Jeez. Wow. 5 years ago, 6 years ago? Something like that. Maybe even longer. I want to say even longer. Let's see. Yeah, it's got to be longer than that, I want to say, that I met Evan. Or I found it, I ran across him on Twitter. And I think that's when, right around then is when he started calling. I started having him join in on the show. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. That's crazy style. Craziness. Crazy talk. Yeah, I can't remember. Yeah, it's probably 18 or 19. Probably 18 or 19 that Evan. So, man, we're talking 5 or 6 years. 7 years. Woo. Cup fans, you got a lot to make sure you tune in. You stay here at 9 till 9:30. And my man Evan Altman, we're gonna get into it with him about this Cubs Game 1 victory and game looking to close it out. Black Diamond, yes. In all seriousness, what do you think about how they're doing Shador in Cleveland, Shawn? It's a joke. It is. But here's the one thing that I'm going to tell you. I'm going to tell Shador. Bide your time. Bide your time. All right. He's going to be the third string quarterback. All right. Dylan Gabriel starting. Joe Flacco's backing him up. Shador is the emergency quarterback. Just bide your time. You will get in there. And when you do not let it go. Not let it go. And you know what I need to see? Real quick before we go. I want to see something. Here we go. Okay. 4 years, 4.6. Signing bonus of $447,000. So basically, he's making $1 million a year. And the prime equity clause has been fake. It's standard rookie deals, but he also has endorsement deals with Nike, Gatorade, and Beats by Dre. Okay. Wow. His Nike deal is worth about 12.2. No, 6.5. No. Yeah, well, he's making a lot of money off the field. But anyway, he's going to have his time, Black Diamond. He's going to have his time. It's going to come up. And you better stay ready, kids, so you don't got to get ready. All right, and I know his dad is telling him the same thing. Be ready, because when they need you, and you come in and you give them, you bring them from behind for a victory, what are they going to do? Put Dylan Gabriel back in? Yeah, probably not. All right. Dylan Gabriel's 5 feet nothing. 100 and nothing. Yeah. Junior says, who are the starting old tackles? We'll talk about that at 10 o'clock when we have all Bears talk. Like Diamond says, for us, Benedette, Tooney, Dahlman, Jackson, and Wright, although I feel he should be benched. We'll talk about that as well. Rick says, I would be stunned if Sanders is not the Bears play them, FGB. Yeah, I would. I agree. But here's what we're going to do. Because we got Evan coming on at 9:30, let's get a crack-a-lackin', baby. You know how we do the first segment of every show is called Top of the Morning.
It won't come just when you want it. Top of the morning to you. Top of the morning to you.
Sorry. Just texting Evan. Let's see. Which way do we go? Which way do we go? Which way do we go? There's only one place to start. Only one place to start. Game 1 of the National League wild card. The Cubs. Cubs beat the Padres. Who wrote this? Jamokes. Oh, I did. Never mind. Cubs beat the Padres 3-1 in game card round. Matthew Boyd got a no decision. He only went 4 1/3, 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 4 punch-outs. Keller came in and got the save. 1 innings, no hits, no walks, 1 punch-out. Seiya Suzuki, the man who's been hot. He hit a home run in his last 4 games of the season. He was 1 for 3, extending that streak to 5, hitting his first home run of the postseason, driving in his first RBI of the postseason. Carson Kelly come up next batter, goes back-to-back jacks. He was 1 for 3. He hit a homer, his first of the postseason, driving in his first RBI of the postseason. Nico Horner was 2 for 3. He drove in the third. The insurance run later in the game. Big back-to-back jacks by Seiya and Kelly. You see, this is after Seiya hit his homer, being congratulated by Kelly at the plate before Kelly says, I can do what you can do. So the Cubs take a 1-0 lead in the series. Best of 3. So with that being said, the next top of the morning topic is game 2. Que la Chihuahua. There we go. Game 2 of the National League wild card is set today at Wrigley Field. First pitch is at 2:08. I don't know why, but 2:08 p.m. Is this? All right, you can catch that game on ABC 7 here in Chicago, or listen to it on their flagship station, 6 a.m. The probables for that game. So here's what the Cubs. Dylan Cease, former Cubs draft pick and farmhand Dylan Cease is starting for San Diego. He's 8-12 with a 4.55 ERA. Going up against Andrew Kittredge, who's 4-3 with a 3.40 ERA. Now, what they're doing is he's an opener. Andrew Kittredge is an opener. Okay. He's going to open a game for Imanaga. Shota is going to take over for him probably in the second inning. Here's probably why they're doing that. Of course, according to Kyle Williams of the Chicago Sun-Times. Shota has a 7.20 ERA in the first inning this season. He also has a 5.08 ERA in his first time through the lineup. Last regular season start, he allowed 8 runs, 9 hits, and 5 2/3 against the Mets. So Craig Counsell is going to use some out-getters. Okay, and bring him in after. So if you're asking who Andrew Kittredge is, he's one of the bullpen guys, and he's going to be the opener. Now they got this new shit now. I don't even know. James Ford checking in. What's up, Papa? Thank you for tuning in, my man. I appreciate you. Is that what it goes to? Thought. Yeah, it looks like it. Well. It's the series. It says TBD. Rick says, I don't like that if it goes to game 3, that the Cubs will have to be on the road. They're a higher seed and should get the home field advantage in a win or go home game. FGB. I agree. I guess they're figuring out, they're saying if you're the home team, you should win the first 2. I guess that's what they're, in essence, saying. Junior, what are you talking about? It's not Halloween Eve. It's not the 30th, psycho. Rick says, could you imagine if Bajan started the first series for Caleb Williams? That opener thing is so lame, FGB. Yeah, it boggles my mind, Rick. It does. It does. It really boggles my mind. If you're a starting pitcher, you start the game. Because then you're not a starting pitcher. And here's where all these sabermetrics and metrics come in, and people want to do some crazy things like this. Junior says October 1st through the 30th is Halloween Eve. For those of you who don't know, Junior is a very, very, very huge fan of Halloween. So much to the point where he got married on Halloween in a cemetery in costume. First of all, hats off to your wife for even going along for some crazy shit. All right, the fact is Halloween, fine, who cares? But to get married in a cemetery and in costume, yeah, she's a real MVP for that one. Because most women would have been like, crazy as a mug. You crazy as a mug. So hats off, shout out to Patty for being the real MVP, for letting you indulge in your craziness. So Junior was the werewolf. Patty was the bride of Frankenstein. I saw pictures. They are on local TV. I forgot the name of the show, but they covered it and interviewed, members of the family. So if all you people who think that Halloween is your favorite holiday, okay, and you're the biggest Halloween fan, yeah, my guy might have you beat. Him and his wife, for letting those shenanigans go on. Yeah, that's that's crazy. Crazy. Top of the morning topic. Here come the Hawks, the mighty Black Hawks. Blackhawks fall to the Detroit Red Wings 3-1 yesterday. Tough. Knight was in goal. He stopped 16 of 19 shots. Spencer Knight is 16 of 19 shots. Doc lit the lamp the only time for the Blackhawks, assisted by Captain Foligno and Del Mastro. It's the second assist of the preseason. Foligno with his first. Interesting. Interesante. Blackhawks. They 1-1, I believe, now. Okay, and keeping it moving. The next Blackhawks preseason game is Friday at the United Center. Puck drop is at 7 p.m. Central. You can catch that game on Chicago Sports Network or listen to it on their flagship station, 7:20 a.m. All right. My buddy. Here's the cool part. My buddy Hirsch is having an outing. So he's got discounted tickets for the Hawks game on Friday. And this is the first time, I think, first or second time, I want to say first, that he's ever done a Hawks game, because he does outings for Bulls, Cubs, Sox. Bulls, Cubs, Sox. And he'd never done the Hawks. So I think this is his first foray into outings for the Blackhawks. And it's cool because they're going to start at Output, which is a half mile away, right down Wood Street. So pregame there, head over to the game. They get a shuttle to the game. They get a shuttle back. So, and last top of the morning topic, I don't think we talked about it, but we will bring it up. Ocasio, better known as Bad Bunny, will perform at the halftime show of Super Bowl 60. This has started a lot of shit. A lot of controversy has been had just with the announcement. Those of you who don't know what this, at his concert, he did his residency in Puerto Rico. All 30 shows were in Puerto Rico. He didn't travel outside of Puerto Rico. All of his shows, I want to say 30. He had 30 shows were in Puerto Rico. And he had this in the middle of the floor. And he had VIPs, or I don't know if you could spend it, or if he placed you there, but you were able to party inside this little house on the floor, looking at on the porch. And here's what he said. He goes, "What I'm beyond myself. It's for those who came before me and ran countless yards so I can come in and score a touchdown. This is for my people, my culture, and our history." So people have a lot of shit to say about him, and they're mad that he didn't do any shows in the United States or in the mainland because he's Puerto Rican. Puerto Rico is part of the United States. But they're mad because he didn't do any shows in the mainland. My question is this: what's so bad about having to go to Puerto Rico? Gee, that sucks. 85-degree weather to go see a concert of the biggest artist at the time. But a lot of people are giving pushback for this. Because he has dressed like a woman at times, and people are getting pissed at that. But he has a resume. He's got the resume. 3-time Grammy winner. 11-time Latin Grammy winner. Okay, he's had over 100 million downloads or album equivalents called on Spotify. He's had over 100 billion downloads on Spotify. 100 billion. Let me double check. I don't want to misspeak. You know, I'd hate to misspeak now. It was 100. You stink. Over 100 billion downloads, 100 billion views on YouTube. The guy's he's worldwide. So if you don't know him, it's okay, but don't come and say get someone that people know. People know. You don't win 3 Grammys, 11 Latin Grammys, have over 100 billion downloads on on Spotify and views on YouTube if people don't know you. I hate to break that to you. Just because you don't know him doesn't mean he's not known. I just think the biggest thing is he's a little out there. But I'll tell you what, that's going to be live. That his concerts in Puerto Rico were live. His halftime show is going to be live. And if you don't know Spanish, here's what I suggest you do. Go look up a whole bunch of his songs. You can Google it. Google the lyrics. You can translate them. You can ask for the translation, listen to them, and you can sing along and sing along in Spanish, read what it means in English. So by the time the Super Bowl gets here, you can sing all of his popular songs, because it'll probably be a medley because he has like a set 11 minutes. And you'll be able to sing along. Simple. But he is probably the hottest artist in the world right now. And someone said, why did you think they should have had Taylor Swift? And I'm like, do you realize that they don't pay the artists? The NFL does not pay the artists to perform at halftime. It's easy for them to branch out, and Taylor Swift doesn't need any more popularity. She's probably the most popular artist out there. Who knows? They got Bad Bunny. It's going to be one hell of a show. I'm telling you. Start listening to his music. Google the lyrics. Google the translation. It's going to be live. Listen, we got to take a quick break. I got to get the warden off the CrossFit, and we got to welcome my man Evan Altman because he's trying to get up to Wrigleyville. He's trying to get up to the north side via the south side. He's got to come from the south. Coming to game 2. So keep it locked right here. Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com on with me next on Shawn Sierra Sports on Sports Zone Chicago.
Operator 901, where's the emergency?
127 Brymere.
Okay, what's going on there?
I'd like to order a pizza for delivery.
Ma'am, you've reached 911. This is an emergency line.
Large with half pepperoni, half mushroom.
You know you've called 911. This is an emergency
Do you
line.
know how long it'll be?
Okay, ma'am, is everything okay over there? Do you have an emergency or not?
Yes.
And you're unable to talk because...
Right.
Is there someone in the room with you? Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Okay, It looks like I have an officer about a mile from your location. Are there any weapons in your house?
No.
Can you stay on the phone with me?
No. See you soon. Thank you.
Every day, we take steps to keep the people we love safe, but some health risks are easy to miss. Ticks hiding in the yard can spread germs, like the ones that cause Lyme disease. Mice searching for food can spread bacteria that makes us sick. Mosquitoes lay eggs in standing water and can spread West Nile virus and more. Cockroaches are drawn to water in the home, leaving behind allergens that can trigger asthma attacks. Common pests can threaten our health. Learn how to protect your family at pestworld.org.
When I'm flying, I put my helmet on, my visor down, my mask up. You don't know who I am. Whether I'm African American, Asian American, Hispanic, white, male or female. You just know I'm an American airman kicking your butt. I'm General C.Q. Brown Jr. Come join us.
No, I don't know though. I'm scared. I mean, you're so
Do you know that you're in my lane? No, not at all. Are you not paying attention? Are you texting? I was just checking in with my mom. I was telling her that I thought we'd be home by 6. It's okay. There's enough time. Just pay attention. I'm not even halfway through my text. There's no way. I'm not even going to look up. My babies are in the car. You have to pay attention. It's just supposed to be a quick text. I'm so sorry.
On the corners for Ryan O'Hearn.
This ball fisted to shallow center. Swanson makes the catch and throws a lob.
A little looping line drive over the shortstop's head into shallow left center. He went back with his back to the infield and made an amazing.
Retired each of the last 11 Cub hitters.
Seiya swings, drills one deep left center field. This is going to tie the game. It's gone. Solo shot to left center by Seiya. Here's Carson Kelly. Kelly with a high drive to center field. Merrill is back. Sheets at the wall. And this one's gone. The Cubs smash out of their slump.
Trying to come through with men at second and third.
Corner center field. Merrill from shallow center. Swanson back to the bag at third. Merrill's throw home off the mound. Cubs extend the lead on a second.
Welcome back to ShawnSierraSports on Sports Chicago. Those clips courtesy of ESPN, ABC 7 here as well, Disney, family. Those are the Northsiders with a big 3-1 win yesterday in Game 1 of the National League wild card round at Wrigley. And let me tell you, that place was rocking. First time since 2018. They won a game, I want to say, at Wrigley in the playoffs, and it was rocking. All accounts, everywhere you heard that place, the stadium was literally shaking. Game 2 today, again at a weird 2:08 first pitch. And my next guest is going to be there. All right, he's the editor-in-chief over at CubsInsider.com. He's a good friend of the program. You can find him on Twitter at D. That's just D, the other D, Evan Altman. Guys, let's welcome back to ShawnSierraSports, my man himself, Evan Altman. Evan, what's up, Baba? How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm just ready for some baseball. This is yesterday was exciting. So I was sitting there. So I gotta, my confession. People can blame me. I have never in person seen the Cubs win a playoff. Every playoff game I've ever been to, they have lost. But the nice thing is, the last couple I've been to, they've been eliminated. That can't happen today. So I'm feeling okay about it. I can't see.
Okay.
I was there at the rooftop in 2020 when they lost to the Marlins. I was there in 17 in the NLCS when they got beat by the Dodgers in Game 5. And so I was like, man, if they lose this first game, I can't go. Like I will be, I don't know if I'll be allowed back in there, but yeah, can't happen today. So we're feeling good about that.
So you're the mush, huh? Get him in the closet. Get him in the closet.
Apparently so.
Well, I'll tell you what. It was a great pitching matchup yesterday. Great pitching matchup, and that's what you really want. You really want to see that in the postseason. Now your pitchers are front and center, and then can you get to them? Can you tire them out? And the Cubs were having some issues to the first 4. All right, could not get through. And talk to me about that 5th inning, man. It was those 2 back-to-backs that you saw coming out of break. Those are crazy. Talk to me about those 2 homers when you saw them.
Yeah, I mean, the fact in a game like that, right, where we knew like both of these bullpens are the Padres probably have the best bullpen in the majors right now, and the Cubs are right behind them, especially if you look at kind of how that's been reconfigured really since the trade deadline. So you're arguably the 2 best bullpens in the game right now as things are. So you knew, both managers are going to have a quick hook. We saw that more with Craig Counsell pulling Matt Boyd. Gave up a single in the 5th. All right, you're done, right? Like we're not even going to let you think about getting into trouble. And for a while there, like Nick Pivetta was, and he's been nails all season. And so everything looked great. The Padres had that 1-0 lead, but then as soon as Suzuki hit his, which was on a clear mistake, thigh-high inner third fastball, but then to see Carson Kelly, right, who's had this resurgent season, when the Cubs go up 2-1 with the way that bullpen's been going, and this shows, and this is kind of one of the things, right? I've been concerned about this, and they won in the same way that you look at what does playoff baseball break down to. The first thing is ball go far, team go far, and then you go pitching and defense. The Cubs obviously had tremendous pitching, gave up just a 1 run. Bullpen records 14 consecutive outs to close out the game for them. Meanwhile, those are just the 2 mistakes, realistically, that the Padres made from a pitching staff. So 2 homers, defense, pitching, that is postseason baseball. If you do those 3 things better than the other team, you're going to win 99% of the time, right? And I know that sounds super generic. So, well, of course, if you do those. But it's not always that simple, right? There's one little mistake, they all get magnified. And so the Cubs just played the cleaner game, got the ball a little bit with the wind blowing in, right? They were able to get a couple balls to cut through there, and that made all the difference. 2 homers, they tacked on another insurance run, but those 2 solo homers, that won the game. That's all they needed.
I was really surprised that Carson Kelly's shot got out. It looked like a routine fly ball. And, they said the wind was blowing in. I'm like, okay, it's might be a warning track out. But it kept carrying and carrying and carrying and carrying and ended up in like the 3rd row. What do you expect today? Do you expect more of the same, long ball? It's going to be a little cloudier. It's not going to be as sunny. I don't know. I haven't heard about the winds in the direction, but you got to kind of have to wait till you get there to see how the wind's blowing. But give me your thoughts for today. You think the Cubs are able to ride that wave? They're 1 win away from eliminating and advancing to the next round against their arch rival, the Brewers. Do you think they're able to show out, especially with this opener? I'm not a big fan of that, Evan. Not a big fan of an opener, for Shota. But your thoughts on the Cubs today?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So it looks like, according to the forecast, right, we all know that can change, especially so if you Wrigley with the lake and everything being what it is. But it looks like throughout the morning, we're getting winds out of the east, so kind of blowing right to left across the field. But then that's supposed to shift to kind of east-northeast, so it could be kind of blowing in from right center. Again, probably impacts the left-handed hitters a little bit more than the right-handed hitters. Which is not great for the Cubs just because they have so many guys from the left side who can really bang. But I'm really interested to see how that does shake down, right? Andrew Kittredge, who pitched the 8th yesterday, is turn around, and Craig Counsell has been really coy about this the whole time, right? Wasn't going to name a starter. Then he does, and it's an opener, but only after he made sure with Kittredge that he was good to go. He still hasn't said, right? It's like, well, is it going to be more than likely it's going to be Imanaga? I would have preferred to see him given another day of rest simply because he's been giving up so many homers. But the thought here is that, right, he's a lefty pitcher. If you can prevent him from facing Tatis and Machado right out the gate, have Kittredge go up against those guys, hopefully retire him, because Imanaga has a really strong, as does Dylan Cease, both of them. If you look at their first time through, second time through, third time through the order, they both, Cease might actually be worse, significant penalties for facing guys a third time. And so if you can skip those two righty sluggers, let's keep in mind the Padres, for as good as that lineup looks on paper and as big as the names are, they do not have a lot of power. They were like 28th in Major League Baseball in home runs, partially from playing in San Diego. But you avoid those two lefty or righty sluggers. You let Suzuki go through that lineup maybe twice, but by doing so, he's got deeper into the game than what they normally would be, right, for getting to that third time through. And if that wind is indeed blowing in a little bit more, that'll help him out. So I think it's more about – it's less about opening and more about letting Shota get deeper into the game without having to face those guys a third time. But I'm with you. I don't like it as much because I feel like you can always, if the starter kind of gets screwed early, you've got some depth guys that can come in there and work multiple innings behind him. If your opener comes out there and the whole goal is this dude needs to go out there and shut these guys down. If he does not, now where are we, right?
Yeah.
Because now you've done the exact opposite of what your plan was.
Now you got to bring in either your starter or you got to bring in another bullpen guy in the bottom of the first because he's throwing 38 pitches, hasn't gotten a guy out, and it's a whole monkey wrench in your program. So, yeah, I've never been a big fan of it. Now that you explained it that way, I see it just getting – so if Shota's going to give you 6, you want him to go 6 starting from the second inning so you get to the 7th with Shota. So now you only got to work 8, 9 as opposed to having to work 7, 8, 9 if he starts. And then you got those big bats out of the way. He doesn't face them the first inning. So I see it. It makes a lot of sense. I still think it's weird, but hey, this is 21st century baseball. Metrics play a lot in this thing. I said, you know me, I'm nowhere near a Cub fan by any stretch, but I said, if you guys get hot, and all of you didn't have to get hot. I said the Cubs got hot. They had a good chance. They'd probably be the most dangerous team in the National League. Sayas gotten hot. PCA hasn't got really hot, but he's been on the bases. He's been tearing it up on the base pass. Michael Busch has been knocking the ball out of the park. King Tuck just got back, so you don't even need him, truth be told, to get past this round. How far do you think they can go if the Cubs continue to hit the way they're hitting? And God forbid, Tucker decides to come out of his slump and PCA really turns it on. How far do you think this Cubs team can go?
Yeah, I mean, I think you said it right there, right? You look at it, and for as much as we've talked about the Dodgers, they barely finished ahead of the Cubs. What do they have, 93 wins, right? Everybody's expecting year after year the Dodgers are supposed to win 152 games, right? They're supposed to go 152-10, and somehow they didn't. The Phillies can get scary like that, but again, when you look at it, you say, well, look at the starters, and granted the Cubs starters have not been nearly as good in the second half, but I think you have a bunch of guys who are capable. That bullpen has been nails, and a lot of people want to look at Jed Hoyer sideways when it comes to some of his pickups, but it's really tough to argue with the moves that they made at the deadline when it comes to how those guys have pitched. Since, again, I look at a guy like Andrew Kittredge, right? I think he had no saves for Baltimore, comes over, he's had 4 saves with the Cubs. Now he's going to open. First time he's done that since I think 2021, maybe with the Rays. So you look at Aaron Savali, right, who got traded out of Milwaukee because he didn't want to be a reliever. Yep. Goes to the South Side, then ends up with the Cubs and is kind of gladly now, granted. And so that guy's hungry to kind of face. So there's a combination of you've got experience, you've got elite talent, you've got a bunch of kind of these bounce back dudes. There's some dudes with chips on their shoulder. And so I think when you look at what it takes to win in the postseason, it's never just one thing. And there's always some little edge. And sometimes that comes from bulletin board material that might be fake for all, but you fake it till you make it, right? You find a reason to get pissed off at somebody. And, the king of that was Michael Jordan, right? You think about that, or go back to the program, right? Who's the linebacker in the program, right? He was like just be yelling at the running back across the line. Because like, I don't even know your mother. Yeah, but it's whatever, like Michael Jordan would hate his opponent because that would give him that mental edge. And I think you do have some of these guys. So it could be some weird deal like Aaron Savali goes out there and just really takes it to his old team. Whatever, right? It's Kyle Tucker maybe playing for his contract for next year. There's all those little motivating factors. So to finally get around to your question, by all means, this is a team that when it is right, because we saw, for a while there in the first half, the Cubs had the best record in baseball.
Yes, they did.
They were playing better than anybody else. That fell apart a little bit, but that by no means says they're not capable of doing that again. We saw them. We've seen them win the season series against the Dodgers, against the Brewers. They've played those teams face-to-face and beaten them routinely. So there's no reason to believe they can't. It's not going to be easy, but they do have what it takes.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. As a Sox fan, damn well I don't want to see it. But you guys definitely have the talent. As you mentioned, the first half of the season showed what you can do, and you ran through like a buzzsaw. You ran through that first half of it because you remember you had the NL West to start, like back-to-back home and away and home series. Like, holy cow, how many times are you going to play the Dodgers, Padres, and Giants in the first 2.5 weeks of the season? Jesus. And you came out of that, and, PCA took Major League Baseball by storm. Seiya, King Tuck, like all them guys, all your guys were hitting. And, obviously you can't sustain that for 162 games. But if you get hot at the right time, Seiya's bat got hot. Was it 4 home runs in the last 5 games or 5 home runs in the last 4 games, something like that? Seiya. All right, PCA, man, all he needs is one game to get going. And as I said, Michael Busch has been knocking the ball out of the park. And we haven't even mentioned King Tuck. This team is really, really primed to get out of this round and get to the next round in Milwaukee. And you talked about finding motivation. Latimer was the guy you were talking about, the linebacker from the program. Latimer.
No. It's Latimer's the defensive end.
The brother.
Was it Marvin Jones? Was it?
The brother.
They spit in each other's mouths right before. Yeah. He was the one because he gave his mother the doorknob as a gift and said, "This is for the house I'm going to buy you with my first contract." And then he broke his leg, and that didn't work out. And we also had Omar Epps was in one of his main. And I apologize for but no, again, I'm no more man on this planet has ever made me more jealous than Omar Epps because he dated Halle Berry in the program. Then he was in Higher Learning, and he dated Tyra Banks. Then he was in Love and Basketball, and he was with Sanaa Lathan. And that is like, dude, my woo. Yeah. Anyway, 3 different sports, right? He was football star, he's a track star, he's a basketball star. Every single one of them, just like top tier star, co-star. Anyway, that's beside the point. But that's that period of time there in the 90s was like, woo, Omar, my dude. Anyway.
Yeah. Definitely a little jealousy there. I feel you on that one, dude. Talk to me about PCA. This kid is, wow, he's electric. He gets traded for Javi Baez, comes in, he gets sent down last year. This year he starts off great. All right, hit a huge slump. Do you think he can come out of that slump now? Because now, you're in the wild card, you're in the playoffs, you're in. Now it's a new beginning, okay? Time to kind of wash the whole season away because it doesn't matter what you did in the regular season. It really doesn't. Now is the time where you make here's where legends are born and legacies are built. Do you see him able to come out of his slump and start putting wood to ball and going gap to gap or just knocking it out of the park? Because if he gets on, we know, and that is another aspect of his game that's dangerous.
Yeah, and I think he had a great piece that he wrote for the Players Tribune earlier this week, Sunday or Monday, something, and just kind of acknowledging, right, like I haven't been the player that I want to be. Like, I get it, and nobody wants to be great more than I do. Nobody understands this more than I do, and I've been disappointed you guys kind of writing this to the fans. I think he's such an emotional guy, and that's the one thing he talked about, kind of relating to Nico Horner. And trying to emulate that more to where, Horner is just the steadiest, right? Production-wise, everything else. So you're never going to know whether he's hot, whether he's cold, with the way he goes about his business, with the way he reacts in the box, he's kind of like the Kyle Hendricks of hitters, right? Nothing super flashy, he's just going to get it done. PCA is far more emotional in that regard. He's only 23 years old, right? So I think a lot of us can relate to that. That was literally half my lifetime ago. So maybe not so much. I'm looking at that. I just realized that, and that made me feel a little bit older. I'm like, okay, I'm twice PCA, but you figure some of those things out. I think if he's able, it's a tough time to do it, right? If you talk about reining in your emotions and finding out how to channel that stuff while actually playing in the postseason, what I'd like to see from him is understanding that and just kind of, hey man, dial it back a little bit. What they need is for you to be on base. As much as that power can change the games, we talk about defense, we talk about all those little things, right? He's going to steal outs, he's going to steal runs in center field. Then if he starts stealing bases, getting that extra, turning singles into doubles and triples, and then allowing a sac fly to get you in, as we saw yesterday, right? One run can be a tremendous difference. And I think that's the kind of thing, if you start, even if it's something, it's a sac bunt or a bunt hit, or it's an infield single that he beats out.
I was going to ask. Why did he do that to get going, man?
I think he's never really had to as much, which is weird, right? Because in the modern era of baseball, like if he was playing 25 years ago, he probably never would have had a chance for 30-30 because they would have had him bunting more and, just hitting on the ground and doing all that. I do think there's something to that if he can work on that, even if all it is, and this is a bad example because it's a totally different player, but we saw that with Kyle Schwarber when they could still shift. And there'd be times when there'd be nobody over at third base. He just bunt one down the third base line and just walk over to first.
Not even the third base line. It's in the middle where the shortstop is.
Yeah, just anywhere. There's nobody there. And so it's like, they can't do that as much, but PCA's got a little bit more speed. And so it's like, how do you win? Option A isn't working and option B isn't working. How do you really leverage option C to kind of open those doors back up, right? Make those pitches. We saw yesterday, he chased a couple high fastballs and then swung at a curve or a slider that was just in the dirt at his feet, like not even a competitive pitch under most circumstances. So you could tell he's in his head a little bit at the plate. So it's just like, what do you need to do to open the pressure valve, release that off, and then be able to get rolling? So I'd love to see him. I think one or two little hits here or there could really set him on a better path.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the shadows played a big part in that too yesterday toward the end. Having a pitcher come from the sun into the shadows, it's a difficult thing. and when you're throwing 100 miles an hour, the guy, the Wrigley pitcher at the end of the game, throwing 100 miles an hour, it's tough, and you literally have to guess because you don't have a good shot of the ball when it's released. All right, and it goes from light to dark, and it's like, that's tough time of day to be hitting. But hopefully he's able to work it out and really come back and help this team. Let's talk about the other guy who was huge in the beginning of the season, who's playing for a contract, and that's King Tuck himself, Kyle Tucker. Talk to you about him. He just came back off injury, and didn't he have a home run before the season ended? But it wasn't nothing too crazy. Talk to me about this guy, because if this guy gets hot, Lord have mercy. That's a different level than like a PCA getting hot.
Yeah, I mean, same deal. We saw him in the first half there, right? And that was the kind of the weirdness with the whole broken bone in the hand, which he hurt kind of early June there, but then June was his best month of the season. It's like, well, when did this come along? What happened? And then we saw him tail off in July, and then August was terrible. Then there's a calf thing, and it's been really tough for him, especially after last season. With the leg fracture, right? He's missed a bunch of time with that, and he's had a lot of time, a lot of problem staying healthy, staying on the field. But yeah, when he is right, and you're talking about a guy who, despite all that, despite the slumps, if you look at him, he's still top 10 to 15 in most of those major offensive categories, right? He still reaches base at a tremendous clip. And so, his OPS is still really good. He hits for power. He hits for average. He draws walks as well as anybody. And that's one of the really good things. And again, I'll relate it to Schwarber, who's a guy who certainly missed a bunch more, but you look back at 2016, blows out his knee game 3 of the season, doesn't play again. I mean, he played some Arizona Complex League stuff, but then didn't play again until Game 1 of the World Series, but the key was that his batter's eye and his approach was still so strong that he was able to work those at bats and make that stuff happen. So I think that's what you get with a guy like Tucker, who's always going to put together a really professional plate appearance. So he's going to force the pitchers to work regardless. But if that comes around, if that timing comes back, and you add that to, say, Suzuki being hot, to Bush being hot, then it becomes a matter of what was troublesome there was like Ian Happ's an excellent ball player. Dansby Swanson, excellent. Nico Horner, excellent. But if those are your top 1, 2, 3 hitters, you're in trouble. Now, if you make them your top 4, 5, 6 hitters because of Suzuki, Bush, and then King Tuck, that is all of a sudden incredibly dangerous because we didn't even – and then PCA could be your 7th guy, and Matt Shaw can be your 8th guy, and then whoever the catcher is. And we saw Kelly Holmes, like top to bottom, that lineup is almost bulletproof if they are right. And Tucker is the best of them when he's right. So, yeah, it'll be incredible if he actually gets going. But even if he doesn't, he's still there, I think, making pitchers work, making them think, and kind of helping other people. That rising tide lifting all ships being in the lineup.
What do you see the biggest weakness for the Cubs right now?
It's just that lack of consistency, right? It's that getting guys on. I think sometimes they'll fall into one way or the other. They were really reliant on the home run ball naturally yesterday, but outside of that, they really didn't have a lot of those opportunities where they're getting guys on. You know, we saw them get 2 batters on, you know, a couple singles to lead off the inning late. Was it the 6th or the 7th? And then, you know, ground into a double play. So now you got great run on 3rd, but 2 outs. And it's kind of, you know, stuff like that. So kind of either manufacturing those runs and being able to consistently put up crooked numbers in a variety of ways. That's what we saw from them early in the season, but it seems like that's kind of fallen off in the second half. So they're not as great. You know, 1-0 is not really a comeback, but once they've fallen down multiple runs, it's can they avoid pressing and just chip away and then kind of make it happen in the end. So I think that's going to be very, very tough for them to do against a team like the Padres in particular, just because of that bullpen.
Why do you think, and and maybe I'm get off my lawn, Shawn, here, but why do you think that that's not an option for them, or they haven't made it an option for them to work on bunts? You got enough guys who are speed, who can out. I mean, you don't even need to be fast. If you can place a bunt down well, a well-placed bunt, doesn't matter if you're a catcher, you're gonna get it. But and not just that, when you need to manufacture a run, and you got a guy throwing 100 plus, all right? Just let the ball hit the bat, and you know now you're able to get on base, or not, if not on base, now you just stress the defense. That's the thing you want to do: stress the defense. Because how many times let's keep it a buck, Evan. How many times do they practice bunt defense? When you're in the field, or in spring training, because not a lot of people bunt anymore. So if you're a team that's good at it, and I think the Cubs have enough guys with speed. You know, the Nico Horners, the PCAs, those guys, you can – I don't understand why that's not – again, not your major thing, but have it in your back pocket, have that sword sharpened, so when necessary, we need a run, it's 3-3 in the bottom of the 9th or bottom of the 8th, I can get a guy on, get him over, get him in.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes a couple different ways, and I'm wondering how and when we see that come back around, because we saw it with the stolen base, right? That had pretty much gone into extinction, but now we're seeing it bounce back. Like the Cubs have stolen more bases this season than they had in like the previous 40, right? And some of that's the rules changes and whatnot. But as we have seen it, and Craig Counsell is not a big proponent of bunting, which I think is kind of funny. You would expect a guy kind of out of a smaller market like Milwaukee and who himself was kind of this scrappy player, contact guy, no power to speak of. You would kind of expect him to be more of that, but obviously the analytics have told us over time that it's not as valuable, right? You want to start hitting for homers, but I think as you noted there, as that swings around to the point where, okay, on one hand, guys aren't practicing bunts, but they're also not working on bunt defense. So now it becomes a strategic, and I'm team buck funting. As I've said many times in general, I don't like it because I'd rather hit homers. But just like using an opener, just like pulling your starter with 1 run allowed after 58 pitches, the calculus changes when you get to the postseason, and those individual runs are that much more important. And so I do think it's something that behooves them, because anymore, like these guys aren't working on that in high school. They're not working on that in college or in the minors. Like it's not as if you have a bunch of guys. And Matt Shaw laid down a sack bunt. We've seen that happen a couple times. But I think if you start working on that, it doesn't even need to be a primary weapon for you. Right. But as you said, you're keeping the sword sharp. Or maybe that's not even the sword. It's like the dagger that you keep on the side. And then if something happens and you're in close combat, you can't swing the sword. Guess what? You got this sharp little knife right here that's going to work in close combat situations. And I think that's where stuff like that comes down to. You don't want to have somebody, even if you're not going to use it, last thing you want to do is be like, hey, you've never laid down a sack bunt. Let's try to do it in a tie game in the 8th inning of a wild card playoff game. Right? No pressure.
Elimination game, game 5,
exactly.
Game 3. If it's game 3 or game 5, you lay down a bunt.
Yeah, like that's not good. But again, same thing. You can't use a knife if it's not sharp, right? So keep it sharp. Never know when you're going to need it.
Yeah, it frustrates me. I wonder why they don't do it more in spring training. I would love to see it, just to keep people on their toes, like you said. If it's not a sword, just to have it a little dagger. All right, just a little sharp knife, and it's very, very, very could be very effective. Talk to me before we let you go, and I appreciate, man. The guys, we're on with Evan Altman. He's the editor-in-chief over at CubsInsider.com. We're talking Cubs baseball here on ShawnSierraSports on Sports Zone Chicago. Craig Counsell got a lot of shit last year, and people were, those crazy Chicago fans or you Cub fans like, fire him! Like, dude, he just got here like 5 seconds ago. All right, he's the worst manager ever. Give me your thoughts on his job this season and so far after game 1 of the wild card.
Yeah, man, I think he's done pretty well. There was a point there even in this season as well, and I wrote about it a little bit. It's like, I'm not saying they're going to look to fire him, but there's a potential when you look at some changes, when you look at how things were heading there for a while, because it got real dicey. You're looking at, okay, Jed Hoyer just got his extension. Where does the blame go, right? And at the end of the day, it's always going to fall to the manager first. But I think he's done a really good job. At times it did feel like things were maybe got a little bit cute, and sometimes that's determined by the outcome, right? The outcome always tells us whether we're smarter or not. If we win, we always look smart. Although I'd argue there are times like in the 6A Indiana High School State Football Championship where you win despite some dumb stuff. And I know Coach Hart, he can't hear me. He's only a quarter mile away, but I got some real questions about trying to hand off to a lineman who's never carried on 4th and 1 when your running quarterback has been ripping off 6 yards per. But anyway, I digress. I digress. They still got state championships. It's fine. But I think what's helped again tremendously is like all of a sudden when those relievers are coming in and they're lights out, and you lose like Ryan Presley, can't get it done, you get rid of him, and then Daniel Palencia comes in and he's struggling and he gets hurt, and Porter Hodge comes in and he gets hurt, but now you've got Brad Keller, you've got Andrew Kittredge, and you've got these guys. Michael Soroka comes back and is throwing 97 again. It really, really helps to have that many dudes who can continue to step up. Kyle Tucker gets hurt. Cool. Michael Bush and Seiya Suzuki will just get hot. PCA's down. All right. Nico Warner's going to start hitting well, and Ian Happ's going to start hitting. So
Carson Kelly. Who the hell was that?
Yeah. Out of nowhere, right? Reese McGuire coming up and all of a sudden like just blasting home runs all over. Like, what are we doing? So when those guys step up, when the players do their jobs, the manager always looks smarter. And that's where the Cubs are at right now. And I think that took him a while. Counsell's a relationship guy. He's always said he's not as much of a strategic guy. So knowing these players, having more time around them, getting them prepared, I think that's what we're seeing is the fruits of that. On a game-to-game basis aren't always going to show up, but over time, better preparation is going to yield better results.
And by that token, by being you said he's like a relationship guy, that kind of gives you get a good bead on your players. Like, okay, should I put him in? I know he's 0-for, but I think he's doing well. You know what I mean? I think you get a good vibe from your players, and I think that's a good way. Your gut, when you're a manager, when you're a baseball lifer, okay, or you get to the show, you've been in baseball a long time. All right, even if you're there 6-8 years, you've been there a long time. You've been in baseball a long time because you probably didn't start in college, right? You probably started in Pee Wee, so in single digits when you were a kid. So you've been in baseball for 20 plus, 30 plus years, and to get a feel for know your players like that, to get a feel to understand who would do well, what would in certain situations. That's vital, and that's not easy to because not even if you've been in baseball or sport for that long, you still might not have that ability. You still might not have it, but he seems to have it, and it could be a situation where it benefits him because he does have the feel, the energy of the player. Like, okay, I think he can in this situation, this be a good spot for him to come through, and hopefully for them they do. But that's a good way to manage. I'm good. I'm big on feel and energy, and if that's the way he does it, I think it's a good way for him because knowing his players very, very well, getting to know him after the whole season now, he's got a much better understanding of them now than obviously in spring training. So
for sure.
Hey, Evan, great stuff, buddy. I appreciate it. I know you got to hop on the road, head up to Wrigleyville. All right. Try not to lose your voice.
We'll see.
Hey, so my buddy was telling me they jacked up the prices, so you're paying $17.99 for a beer now.
That's for the common folk, all those Philistines out there. I will be in the W Club, so we went ahead and prepaid the higher prices ahead of time, so I can just go grab a food beer. But it was not cheap. But that's I just have to skip on the private jet fuel for the next couple weeks. But we'll be okay.
Sounds good, man. Hey, we'll talk soon, man. Safe travel to Chicago. I know. Guys, that's Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com who's heading to the game. Probably leaving right now. So appreciate him taking time to talk Cubs baseball game 2 of the National League wild card. The Cubs take on the San Diego Padres here on the north side of Wrigley Field. Can the Cubs close it out in advance to play the Brewers? We'll find out. Will they go to a game 3? We'll find out. So if you're a Cub fan, you're probably fired up. Thinking about today, it's been since 2018 since you last won a game at Wrigley, so it's obvious the fans are feeling it. They're feeling it. So, good luck to you guys. Good luck to you guys up on the north side today. And see, the only reason I not even root for the Cubs, I don't get too upset when they win. Is I have so many of my good friends are Cub fans. And I'd really hate to just be a jagbag all the time and every time they lost, just talk shit like Junior and Mondo. More so Mondo, because Mondo's still real emotional. Remember you're like 26, 27, you're a real emotional fan. We're emotional now, but we can still, forget it. I'm just happy when when Mondo's happy. My little nephew. He's not little, he's like 6'1", 6'2". But good luck all I can say is good luck to the Cubs today. And hopefully you can close it out and move on. But we're gonna take a quick break. King Booker Road checking in. What's up, Papa? It's his latest help, but I'm here. Hey, I appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. You said Shorty Watts invited me onto their show. When we start thinking I can do this, you can, bro. You can. Just make sure you know your stuff. You got to research, so you know who to, things to say about specific players, and keep it a buck. Be yourself. That's about it. It's top of the morning to you, Shawn. So is that Jeremiah or Monica or both? Good morning, Patty. Good morning. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break, and then on the other side of the break, we're going to come back. We got some Bears talk. There's a lot of questions. You got some explaining to do. We'll talk about a lot of different issues that plague our Chicago Bears. 2-2 going into the bye week this week. Excuse me. And where do they need to go? There's a lot of questions. So we'll discuss those questions on the other side of the break. So don't go anywhere, folks. Keep it locked right here. ShawnSierraSports on Sports Zone Chicago.
Hey, it's your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra, and be sure to follow Sports Zone Chicago on all social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, and our Roku channel. You can find us at Sports Zone Chicago, and on Twitter, we are at Sports Zone Shy. Also, be sure to download our mobile app so you can take Sports Zone Chicago with you on the go.
How do you take care of your mind health?
For my mental health, I
I meditate in the mornings. I have my dogs. They're the best. I just find ways that help me just relax.
Finding things that make me happy, like being close to my family.
I meditate a lot and read books. I have hobbies outside of the game. I'm able to switch off. I'm able to turn my brain off from the game of basketball.
Your mind health matters.
Your mind health matters.
It's a grown man sport. What? It's a grown man sport like that.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Every body in a work zone is someone's somebody.
This is my mom. She works for KDOT.
This is my dad.
This is my mom.
This is my daddy.
This is my sister.
This is my daddy.
This is my son, Scott. He was killed while working in a highway work zone. When you drive through a work zone, drive like a life depends on it. Because it does.
Offensive line for Chicago. How do they navigate on 3rd and 5? Caleb Williams connects. 125 yards and the one pick. Williams slings it over the middle. Caught Odunze for the Chicago touchdown.
It looks to me like we have confusion. Both of these safeties, watch the communication pre-snap. And they both come down and there's no safety in the middle of the field. Both corners are playing outside leverage downfield to make a big play.
For a big third down right here. 3rd and 3. Williams steps up, pocket muddies, and he's going to be short. Numbers starting to pile up now for the Bears. As Tory Taylor gets some good leg on it. Does this take a Chicago bounce? And it will. Masterfully done by Taylor.
Welcome back. The ShawnSierraSports on Sports Zone Chicago. Those clips courtesy of CBS. I'll tell you, Tory Taylor, boy. I cannot describe to you what an awesome feeling that is when you have a puncher who can do what he can do. I'm telling you, my guy Eric, I call him Jeffrick. Eric Guthrie is his name. For the longest time, I thought his name was Jeff. I don't know why. Big shout out to Eric Guthrie, a kicker from the Thunder, or punter from and kicker from the Thunder. I'm telling you, I thought his name was Jeff, and I'm sitting there going, Jeff, like right in his face, Jeff, and he's like, "You talking to me?" I was like, "Yeah, that's your name, right?" He goes, "No, it's Eric." I'm like, "What did I think your name was Jeff?" I don't know. It was nutso, but he's able to do that. And so I used to call him Jeffrick. Eric and Jeffrey, yeah. Yeah, it's a great feeling. Great punt by Tory Taylor. I'm saying that does wonders for a defense, for a team. You know, when you get stopped and you have a guy who can do that. So Great stuff. Still kind of high off of Sunday's win. Oh. I really enjoy being 2-2. You know, yeah, it would have been better 3-1, but we're not there. We're not 2-2. So I'm taking that, and there's a couple of things. There's a couple of things that I want to talk about. One is his offensive line. Okay. This is huge. Okay. There's a couple questions that I have for that. One question was answered. All right. One question was answered where they came out and said that Braxton Jones is going to be benched. Okay. So that means moving Theo Benedette over to left tackle. And Ozzy Trapillo slides in at right tackle because Darnell Wright has been hurt. Now, is Darnell Wright going to be healthy in these next 2 weeks? I don't know. I think I told you this Monday, or I think I told you last week. I think Darnell Wright is going to be the fall guy. He's going to be the example set. All right, Darnell Wright has had a less than spectacular year to this point. All right, a lot of pre-snap penalties. All right, he's given up some pressures, and I think that he might be the example set. You know, and maybe because he's hurt, Braxton was the example that was set. But I told you, Braxton, there was no way Braxton was going to be as good as he had been the last couple of years because he didn't have a chance to work out this offseason. All right, I'm telling you, it is of the utmost importance the offseason. All right, I told you my experience going into my senior year of college. Okay, but up until that point, and every year after that, when I played in Italy, right? When I played with I played with Newt Rockney up in New York for 1 year. When I played with the Chargers, and I played with the Thunder, the season was vital. Hell, I used to get up at like 4 a.m, and I used to drive from Tinley Park, 167th in Harlem, all the way to Montrose and was it Elston to meet up with Junior. This is when I was teaching. I would go right to school from there. We'd get there around 5 o'clock. I'd work till like 6:37. Or we get there earlier. That doesn't seem like it gave me enough time to get to work. But anyway, the off season is critical. And now you're starting to see all of the off-season routines from a lot of the various players. A Derrick Henry one, although you can't practice not fumbling in the offseason. But you see the workouts that these guys do, and you see why it's vital. Braxton Jones didn't get a chance to improve. He had to get back to. He's trying to get back to where he ended. At least get back to that point. I don't know if he did. His quickness, his strength, his footwork, his out-and-out speed, not there. And then we talked about Darnell Wright. Darnell Wright was having issues, giving up pressures, pre-snap penalties. And now you're stuck. You got two young tackles. One's a first rounder, the other's a fifth rounder who are not playing to their potential. All right, Darnell Wright, you're a first-round pick. You need to be playing much, much better. Braxton Jones, a fifth-round pick. Listen, you played your tail off. We need you to get back to the best you can play, and that's probably an above average left tackle. And an above average left tackle will suffice. Man, mind you, we'd much rather have a solid to Pro Bowl or all pro left tackle, but above average, I'll take. Above average, we can win with. And those guys were an issue. And my question is this. Did Ben Johnson not like? I don't think he likes Darnell Wright. I don't. I don't mean he doesn't like him as a person. I mean, I don't think he likes him as his right tackle. It's just the vibe I get when I hear him speak about him. Now, give me. I understand coach talk, and you want to downplay players at the, you don't want to build a hype for players. I understand that completely. I just don't get the feel, or I get the feel that he just doesn't. It's not his type of offensive tackle. And don't be surprised if it ever came out that the reason they drafted Trapillo was to replace Darnell Wright. Now, here's the thing. Shode, what's up, Papa? I think you're correct, Shawn. It's ShaEWN. I'm kidding. I'm just messing with you. King Booker World said, I said the same thing, Shawn. Like Diamond says, yeah, I don't think either, Shawn. I don't believe he fits the system. And that could be it. He compared him to Sewell. Yeah, I remember him saying that. But to me, Rick, it just sounded like coach bullshit. It just sounded like that. It just sounded like that. And I have no grounds to stand on. Just my gut feeling. It just sounded like bullshit. Like he's just trying to hype him up so he didn't want to create a story. I mean, what do you expect him to say? I'm not really happy with this type of lineman. So, yeah, I don't think he liked either one. But I'll tell you what, I think with Braxton Jones' ability to get downfield, get to the second level, I think Ben Johnson would have liked his play better. But he had to be playing at his best level. Like I said, an above average left tackle. And he couldn't stand the pass. He couldn't handle the bull rush. That's his Achilles heel. So I'm a little concerned. Well, not really. Just something to think about because I'll tell you what, Ozzie Trapillo came in and did not play bad. All right, you're going up against one of the premier pass rushers in the NFL in Max Crosby. You did okay, kid. You did okay. Is that enough to keep the job when Darnell Wright comes back? Or when or do you say, hey, you know what, we're going to give this kid a shot because you've had quite a few pre-snap penalties. This youngster hasn't. And we're going to go with him for now. If you're Darnell Wright, you're pissed because here's the end of your no, isn't it? It's fourth year. And you're trying to get that contract. Darnell Wright's 4-year, is May 23, 23 to 425. Yeah, he's after his 3rd year now. Okay. So you got to decide you want to pick up his 5th-year option. So here's what I suggest. Here's what I think the Bears are thinking. If he's not Ben Johnson's type of tackle, if that's what Ozzie Trapillo is, you pick up his 5th-year option and then you trade him. Do right by the man. Pick up his 5th-year option, then take offers for him, then trade him. So he gets that 5th year with whoever team he goes to. Do right by that young man. Don't say we're not picking up your 5th year and we're gonna, and you start trading him, because then he's gonna walk away for nothing. If you're not picking up his 5th year, at least you have some control and you can get something back. But if that's the thing, pick up his 5th year and then put him on the market. He's better than a lot of offensive tackles in this league. He may not be a fit for Ben Johnson's offense, but he's a fit for somebody's offense. And what I would really hate to see is he goes somewhere and plays another 6-7 years of top-notch offensive line play. I just don't want the Bears to get nothing for this 1st-round pick. If you pick up his 5th year, trade him in the offseason. That comes off your book, or it doesn't go on your books for the salary cap. Or even if you trade him for a draft pick, 2nd-round pick. That's my thoughts on those two. The middle 3 needs to protect better. They're making stupid mistakes, lack of communication oftentimes, and you can't have that. They're doing it a little too often. Although, don't get me wrong, the majority of the time, they're picking things up. And it's just going to take time for them to get better, get comfortable playing next to one another. Because Caleb has had time to throw. He's been pressured a couple of times. And remember, he ran a couple of times, got a 1st down because the pocket collapsed. He stepped up, no one was open, took off. Mr. Schroeder, you could be onto something there. You could be onto something there. If Jonah Jackson continues to suck, you could slide him. You could slide Darnell Wright down to right guard. He could end up being an all-pro right guard. Who knows? But those inside 3 are killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. I need that front line fortified. I want Caleb to stand there flat-footed, a la Tom Brady, a la Drew Brees. I want that front to be stout. But they're not. I think they can get there, but right now they're not. This is another thought I had, and this one hurts big time. Is DJ Moore on the way out soon? Let me preface by saying this. DJ Moore is my favorite Chicago Bear right now. Okay? When he got here, He was second after Justin. He's my second favorite player after Justin 2 years ago. He's my favorite player last year. I have his damn jersey. You see in some of the pictures if you follow me on Facebook. I was wearing his jersey at a couple of the viewing parties I was at. I also have a Rome jersey. Haven't worn it yet. But DJ is my favorite player on this team. But because he's not being targeted, because he's being left out, because the quarterback is forcing the ball to Rome, and that's no fault on Rome. I'm not taking it out on Rome. This is the issue with the quarterback. Why you don't go to your number one receiver who's proven in this league is beyond me. And it's not that Rome Odunze can't be a number one receiver in this league. I think he can. But why not go with the proven veteran who's getting paid $111 million, by the way, and you can force the ball to him as opposed to Odunze. I think DJ's got 11 targets on. I think he's got 11 targets on the year. What? Oh, hey, what do I want? No. I want schedule, standings, stats. Team. Office, no, that's that. Rick says Shawn, Rome is the number one receiver, FGB. Well, yeah, thanks to Caleb. And here's my issue. Rome better start acting like. You can't have these drops. He's got far too many drops as the number one receiver. Cornelius, he's got to call play specific to DJ. Cornelius says, I really like DJ too. It's up to Ben Johnson to get him more involved. It's not up to him. It's up to Caleb. And I'm telling you, Caleb doesn't like, this is my opinion, Caleb has a thing against DJ. I still think it stems, him and Komet, it stems from when he was still in college, and DJ's like, no, they're not better than Justin. We're cool. You can draw up a play for DJ, but if Caleb doesn't want to throw it to him, he won't throw it to him. You saw it in game one. Was it game one? Yes. He forced the ball to Rome in the end zone when he could have just checked it down. He was in double coverage. He could have just checked it down to DJ, who's wide open on the under route at the 5-yard line. Wide open. DJ skips into the end zone. He misses DJ on that seam route, but then hits Rome with it the next week. I love DJ. He is a dog. I don't think Rome is a dog. I think Rome is extremely talented. Can he become a dog? Maybe. Shorty, you and I disagree. Get DJ out of the goddamn backfield. Unless it's just straight pass routes. If you put DJ in the backfield, he's just coming out on routes, okay. But I don't want to see them hand the ball off to that dude again. I don't need that shit. I need him catching passes. And how do you think he feels? You don't think he wants to earn his $111 million? Because what Caleb's doing, he's making DJ expendable. Rome's touchdown against the Raiders could easily have gone to DJ, but Caleb chose Rome. Yeah. I'm telling you, he's Petty Murphy. And if we had to, Black Diamond says, got to disagree, Shawn. Ain't no maybe. Rome was a dog. Yeah, the reason I say that, too many drops. He don't have that. I just don't see it in his eyes. Now, don't get me wrong. He's extremely talented. You can be extremely talented. You can be the most talented person on the field, but not be a dog. It's an attitude. I just don't see that attitude. He's great. I think he's a great player. Just that mentality I don't see. Okay, you know what? I can go with that, King Booker World. I can go with that. I said Roman's a pup right now, but I see a dog next year, and I think you're right. I think, yeah. Black Diamond, preach. Because you know why, Black Diamond? Because coaching matters. Coaching matters. Antoine Randall L., yes. I think that's a great coach for Roma Dunze. Great coach. I think he's going to get better as the year goes on. Again, but my thing is, I don't like having a $100 million receiver and not using him. Now, if you pay DJ $60 million, $70 million over a couple of years, okay, I got it. But you don't give him $111 million and not have the ball thrown to him. Like, that needs to be said in the meetings. Like, get him the ball. And we don't know. Maybe the plays are run for DJ. Someone else is secondary receiver, and Rome gets open as a secondary receiver. We don't know. But I'm telling you, that bugs me. Because, listen, if we had to, I would not be opposed to trading my man DJ. If we package DJ with DJ, maybe a second rounder and a fourth rounder for someone like Max Crosby or someone like Myles Garrett or someone of that ilk, you might have to have a little more. I wouldn't throw a first rounder in there because you're throwing DJ Moore in there. If we had to, because we're just not using him, Caleb's not using him, man, I would miss that son of a gun so much. But you already got a contract for $100 million. You're straight. You're straight. No, I give him all the credit for Reek. Black Diamond says, can we give Al Harris some credit for Reek? No, all that credit goes to Al Harris. I'm telling you, this is why I've always said, and will always say, and this shirt's going to be on sale, coaching matters. Al Harris was a dog. And Tyreek Stevenson has those traits, but he's got to perform. He had a phenomenal game Sunday. Phenomenal. Flying out of the field, full extension, interception, pass breakups, tackles with a little nastiness on it, little spice on it. And a lot of that is from Al Harris. But as I was saying, if the situation arose where we had to trade DJ, I'd be sad for a moment. But if we got a Max Crosby or a Myles Garrett type, I get over that real quick. I get over that real quick. Because did we all see, and it's a rhetorical question, of course, did we all see what the hell Max Crosby did to us in that first half? He was everywhere. He was everywhere. That's the kind of pass rusher we need. Montez Sweat. That's the type of pass rusher we need. Ever since he came here, Montez Sweat, in the middle of the year, and had a good, he had like 5 or 6 sacks after the trade deadline for us. He was the first person in NFL history to lead 2 teams in sacks in the same year. Ever since that first half year he got here, he ain't done shit. He is far underperformed. He came here for a half a season, got the $98 million contract, and then went on the back of a milk carton. And I get it, you could double team, but guess what? So do other people. So did Max Crosby. So does Myles Garrett. So do these other guys, and they still seem to pressure and or sack the quarterback. I don't know. I would love to have someone who can get to the quarterback whatever the hell he wants. I want a guy where people are like, oh, shit. It's a big play. 3rd and 6. Oh, shit. Rick says, maybe the Bengals will be willing to trade Trey. Did he get a new extension, or was that just a one-year deal? Let me see. Yes. So it's a one-year deal. He restructured his one-year deal with the Bengals. They'll pay him $30 million, another $1 million in incentives if he meets team goals. How old is this joker? How old is this joker? Because it's 32. He'll be 31. He's born in December. He'll be 31, Rick. He'll be 31 in December. So how many more good years does he have left? Give me a Max Crosby. Dude, Max Crosby looks phenomenal. He's only 28. He just turned 28. So you got another good 3 years out of him. I'm telling you, I wouldn't even mind Max Crosby, or hell, I know Cleveland would never do this, and they have no reason to, is trade Myles Garrett. Because if I'm not mistaken, Cleveland's playing pretty well. Cleveland's playing pretty well, if I'm not mistaken. Where are the standings, you son of a biscuit? No, they're 1-3. Never mind. So if Cleveland wanted to, hey, if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm like, listen, bro. Like, who does Cleveland have as receivers? Because you could say, all right, here's a way I can see it happening. If Shedeur gets in, I'm sure he will. If Shedeur gets in and has a problem finding receivers, has a problem with receivers, and you want to take care of this young man, you go get yourself a DJ Moore. Because to get a guy like that would be amazing. Now, what are we going to do about the running back position? Well, you better look into the draft. Better look into free agency. Because I don't know if you're going to be able to get Jeremiah Love, kid out of Notre Dame. Jeremiah Love, 6 feet, 215. That would be a wonderful, wonderful pick. Runs between the tackles. He's played in the Midwest at Notre Dame, so he's played in slop, in inclement weather. But we still don't know what we have at the tackle spot. Is Theo Benedict the dude? Is Ozzie Trapillo the dude? Now, if Ozzie Trapillo continues to, he builds off of his performance against Max Crosby and keeps ascending, then yeah, you got your right tackle. We still don't have that left tackle. Is Theo Benedict the dude? I don't know. We're going to find out in the rest of the season. Because even if Darnell Wright comes back and gets his job back, it has no effect on Theo. So we need help there. And I'm concerned about the middle of our run defense. I really am. They showed up in key times when we needed it. Okay, but Andrew Billings, just like Braxton Jones, didn't get a chance fully to train this offseason. He was recovering from a torn pec muscle. Now, he's shown flashes. He got in on 4th down where Noah Sewell came in and he stopped Ashton Jeanty. Noah Sewell came in, caused a fumble on 4th down. Tyreek Stevenson picked it up, tried to go, but he got knocked down. He used to try to take that to the house. But Andrew Billings needs time. This is why, where's the Shamar Turner? We definitely missed Grady Jarrett because Andrew Billings has been unable to. That's what he would do. He would hold up offensive linemen. With recovering from a torn pec, I can't imagine how much strength he lost. Grady Jarrett needs to start living up to the hype. And I know he's in his 10th year, so he's going to be a little slower. But, man, you got to have some plays in there. You got to have a couple flashes in the pan that take us back to the glory days of yesteryear. You got to. You got to. So, yeah, we got a lot to work on. We have a lot. And this is all on polls. This is all on polls. Roma Dunze with second first-round pick last year. We needed an offensive tackle. You needed a defensive end. You took Colston Loveland when you needed an offensive tackle. You needed a defensive end. So you got Colston Loveland this year, Roma Dunze last year, when you needed more help in the trenches. This falls squarely in the lap of Ryan Poles. And why, as a former offensive lineman, you refuse to draft offensive linemen in the first round is beyond me. Is beyond me. Shore up that offensive line. You got your freaking franchise quarterback. Protect him. It would have saved you a lot more money had you drafted a guard or a tackle or an edge with the second pick last year, the Roma Dunze pick, and the first pick this year in the Colston Loveland. This is why I was so adamant about the haul. But then when you decided to go the route you did, okay, your first pick was Caleb. Get someone to protect him. You didn't do it. And you doubled down by not getting another protector in the draft. Like, who do we have? There's no one that we drafted. I mean, Ozzie, he's a right tackle. We need his left side protected. Ryan Poles is a lot. You got a lot of explaining to do, buddy. You got a lot of explaining to do. Because this is just unacceptable. All the cap money you would have had, all these guys would have been on rookie deals. All these guys would have been on rookie deals. Imagine adding a top-notch pass rusher. Imagine adding a lockdown left tackle with last year's first-round pick and this year's first-round pick. Even if you just kept DJ Moore, Luther Burden, you still drafted Olamide, Cole Kmet. That's still a pretty good receiving core. But it could be a great receiving core if you have all day to throw. So this is on you, Pauls. I hope they do some self-scouting. I hope they bring in some more linemen. And I hope they really the players are taking care of themselves, because they're Rick said he went to the Jewels this morning and seen Dexter on a milk carton. Yeah, where the hell's he been? I feel like MC Light. Make me want to ask, where the hell you been? Where the hell you been, Dexter? We got to get more pass rush. And Ryan Poles has to address it. Listen, 2 hours is coming on. I want to thank my guy, Evan Altman from CubsInsider.com for coming on talking Cubs baseball as they prepare for Game 2 of the National League National League wild card round. As he's getting ready to drive up to Chicago from Indianapolis. I want to thank him for coming on, breaking it down, talking Cubs. And I want to thank you guys. You guys kept this chat lit. We went in Bears talk. Great stuff. I truly appreciate it. One of the things, the renderings for the new stadium came out. And this is the inside. What it looks like whole development. Here's a look on the outside. Oh, mind you, I really don't give a rat's ass now. Like, stop. Tell you when the shovels are in the dirt. Tell me when the shovels are in the dirt. Let me know about that day. I want to know about that day when shovels are in the dirt, the day they set aside for groundbreaking. Caleb's doing well. Peep this. First 4 weeks, last year and this year. Points per game, up 6. That's a whole touchdown. Total yards, 75. Passing yards, 60 more. Rushing yards, 15. Sacks allowed, that's dropped from 4 to 1.8, or 1.8 a game. So I was like, how do you get 1.8 instead of 1.5? I'll get you. Third down percentage has gone up from 33 1/3 to 45 1/5. 45 1/2, I should say, excuse me. And the yards per play goes up from 3.9 to 5.3. There's improvement, guys. Remember I said there's improvement. I just need to play better. I just need this team to stay focused, stop these pre-snap penalties, all this other bullshit. It's causing them to fall behind the chains. Patty says, have a great rest of your day, everyone. Enjoy this warm weather while we have it. Yeah, definitely. And then Shorty says, what the hell are they going to name the stadium? Delta Community Credit Union Stadium? If Delta Community Credit Union gives them the most money, they'll name it Delta Community Credit Union Stadium. They'll do that. Anyway, listen, guys, you have a phenomenal day. It is going to be beautiful out. It's going to be 80s again today. All right, we got 79. So 80 today, 81 Thursday, 84 Friday, 84 Saturday, 82 Sunday, 80 Monday, 80 Tuesday. And next Wednesday, week from today, you go 65. We have a lot of time. Patty, Monica, Jeremiah, thank you. It's a great show with you, Shawn. Says on a billboard in the highway, have you seen me? The stylistics are going, have you seen him? Tell me, have you seen him? But listen, guys, get out there. Here's a perfect weekend to spend time with your significant other in the middle of football season since the Bears aren't playing on Sunday. Go to do whatever she wants, brunch, whatever. Make time for your friends. Let your loved ones know you love them because tomorrow is promised to no one. Rooftop patios. There's a street fest this weekend in Pilsen. All right, Cermak in Morgan. House Music Fest. Get out there. All right, make time for your peoples. I'm doing it. I'll be there tomorrow. Hope to see you there. But from everyone here at Sports Zone Chicago, guys, I'm your boy, the SuperBack, Shawn Sierra. Have a phenomenal day because your boy is out.
Come on, place the bass, place, get ready for